We are live. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay, where is this viewer counter? Make myself just a little bit bigger. And we're going to put this in the corner. Okay, hold on. If you're in chats, I have not looked. What is up, guys? Should I change the chat option? Not sure if it makes it more difficult for people to get involved. Okay. Just changed it to open. Let me refresh this. I guess it makes it a lot easier to participate if I leave it open. But you got to leave out the trolls, you know? Gonna let some more people join. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna shut that off. What is that? Just because it's kind of loud, unfortunately. Okay, I'm back, guys. I'm gonna remove the chat box. Hey Francisco, yeah, did you see the title? It is titled, how did I put it? Anyways, Nano Dimension delivers their Fabrica 2.0 system. That's what we're going to talk about today. How do I have this titled? Nano Dimension earns 1.5 million contract. Yeah. Yeah, this happened today. I just want to get more people in here. We could talk about the stock, and we can talk about the this news that developed today, and Redchip's new interview with Nano Dimension. Except it wasn't with Yoav Stern today. This was also I don't believe this was recorded today either. I think this was recorded on what day did it, unless it did air today. I could be wrong. But I don't believe this aired today. Just because if you go into like halfway in the video, you can see the stock price. And the stock price is something around $6 and something. That was already a couple weeks ago. Yeah, 613. How are you guys doing? What's up, Dave? Stocks dumped yesterday. I go down massive. Markets recover. My stock's still down massive. Yeah. I mean, you just got to be patient, man. Hey, Jennifer, how you doing? As far as the stocks dumping, I mean, you know, everyone's been red the last, what is it, 9 months? If you guys want to see something, I was just about to bring up CEI. If you guys want to see something that's dumping, look up CEI stock. Look at this one. Camber Energy. Look at this. And for disclosure, I was holding this for like a couple hours, and then I sold it and made a little money, and then that was it. I didn't make a video about it or anything though. Just because I felt like something like this would happen, especially when it's, you know, pennies and then it 10x's. Yeah. Look at this. The 12x, and then it's down 80% in just, what, 3 days? 1, 2, 3, 4 days. Pretty ridiculous swings. Ash said, just a rough market. Dump truck stocks like CEI run 1,000% off of algorithm chasing. Good money. Due diligence stocks with real news stay flat or fall. Need to be patient. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, let's look back at Nano Dimension real quick. Those are facts. Ash spitting facts. Okay, so we're on a daily on Nano Dimension right now. And this thing just keeps, like, imagine this is like a huge flag. If you're into patterns. No previous highs are being significantly breached. So, like, there's just all this liquidity piling up above here. And I think we were going to come back down to around this level. Between 480, 490, and $5, I think Nano Dimension could go back down there and retest. So yeah, definitely crazy stuff. What like the mechanics when you consider it. What's up, Stig Digger man? Stig Dager. Greetings from Slovakia. Carousdale. Oh, I did see that. Okay. Something interesting for you guys is if you are on Twitter, go follow Redchip, by the way, because they're the most active when it comes to actually... Sorry about that. I was adjusting my mic. They're the most active when it comes to, like, interviewing Nano Dimension. I feel like they've had, like, 4 or 5 interviews with them in the last year. Anyways, Carousdale Capital. These are the guys who short Nano Dimension at around... I think it was around $9. And now they're taking a short position on CEI, except on Camber Energy, except I would imagine they took it short maybe, a couple days ago and not today. Because then they're chasing the short side too. I think Camber Energy is pretty much where it needs to be. Well, I guess it doesn't need to be anywhere, but somewhere around $1. From 50 cents to $1 seems reasonable for like a small cap stock. And oil and gas is rising right now, so people are going to take speculative positions, which is okay. I made a video a few days ago saying Nano Dimension could rise. This is our price target, but it flopped there for the time being, so it might have to test $5 before it goes back up here. Kayla Smith, everything I sell goes right up after I do, so what do you guys need me to sell? Taking one for the team here. Oh god. Everyone in here is probably going to say Nano Dimension. Stagflation and Nano Dimension. Not much, to be honest. Michael Don, so do you have a strike price for Nano? I'm holding some 1250 calls in Nano Dimension right now. No, 750. Sorry. I'm down pretty fat, 90% on my call options. I wasn't planning on exercising them either. Just wanted to take a possibly short-term speculative position on Nano Dimension just because I'm willing to buy the stock. It didn't really turn out how I was expecting. So from 360, you can very easily go down to $36. But I didn't bet the whole farm on something that expires in, 3 weeks. So I'm okay. I'm chilling. And, it's good news for Nano Dimension. So it's kind of out of the blue. Maybe we'll have some kind of spike in price after it falls a little more. That's what I'm kind of betting on here, I mean, Jennifer, $4 and $4 Nano Dimension is severely undervalued. I don't think it'll go to 4 flat. Not in their current position. What's up, CJ? No, CJ, that was one in a blue moon. Saul Goodman, on one side, I wish it goes up to add 4 more. I wish it goes down to 4 to add more shares. On the other side, I wish it goes up to make profits. Yeah, it just depends on what you want. If it goes up, you're gonna spend more to acquire the same piece. So if you really believe in the company and their technology and what they're doing, then it's in your best interest for them to actually trade sideways or further lower. Just depends what you want. Patience is tough for anything. With Nano Dimension, I mean, one could argue that 9 months is not a lot of time in the stock market, and that's about how long we've been trading sideways or down and then sideways. It's normal. I mean, I wouldn't say this is normal, but for it to behave like this is normal. It's not just going to go up forever, So I guess there's enough guys in here that we can talk about this news and watch the Red Chip Money Report. Have any of you guys seen that already? Because if not, I'm definitely interested in watching that with you guys right now. But before we get into that, as this live stream is titled, Nano Dimension to deliver their Fabrica 2.0 system to a leading Western Homeland Security agency under a $1.5 million contract for machine utilization. So the Fabrica 2.0 system, I believe, is the printer, the micro precision printer from Nano Fabrica that they acquired. I'm not sure if any of Nano Dimension's own technology is implemented there. I'm pretty sure the Fabrica 2.0 is just the renamed version of the previous company's, or the company's printer originally had a different name and then they changed it to the Fabrica 2.0. That's what I mean. What news do we need to make this skyrocket? I have no idea, honestly. Like, the thing is, the market, how does the saying go? It goes, the markets can remain irrational longer than you're able to stay sane, or something like that. Like, pretty much the market can drag you sideways and bore you to death and make you wait longer than most people are willing to wait. And that's why it really ends up screwing people when they kind of don't understand what they're buying into, because the longer it drives you, crazy, moving sideways and lower and all that, like, if you don't know what you're buying, it's going to be really hard to hold. So the news you need, I think, is really no news. I don't think any news is going to be necessary to drive it up. I think, like, once it's ready to go, it's just going to go based on, I think, especially market mechanics. Just driving it lower for so long, people will eventually rotate back into Nano Dimension once they really start to, see the potential. Is it based on any single piece of news, though? No, I don't think so. Okay, we'll watch that. We will watch that shortly, guys. CJ said, John, there are so many stocks that have the potential to go up. How do we know Nano will work? Well, we just have to watch them. We just have to, make sure they're functioning as the kind of business that they are, which is a growth company. But really right now they're in the research and development phase, so we're not going to analyze them like a company that's expected to produce, huge profit margins. Like, that's not where they are right now, though their margins are improving, by the way. We just have to analyze them as the company they are right now, which is in research and development of this kind of technology. So you just got to keep an eye on it, keep track of the financials, and make sure they're not being irresponsible. Check management, check any material developments in the company, like news like today, for example. And we just have to go based on what we know. You know, sorry about that. We don't want to speculate too hard on it, if you get what I'm saying. Although we're very excited about what they're going to do, we also don't want to be like irresponsible either. But I think right now they're in a perfect position. So buying the company at cash value just makes sense right now, because the cheaper it gets right now with all the cash on the balance sheet, you are getting a better deal the cheaper it gets, because you're trading the cash in your pocket for the cash in their pocket. But the difference is the cash in their pocket comes with a business. The cash in your pocket is just going to sit there as cash in your pocket. So totally different, if you get what I'm saying. If that answers your question, CJ, I'm not even sure. I hope that did. What's up, Elaine? I see the rest of your chats right now. I'm just trying to get to them one by one. So Dom, Ryan, CJ, Michael, Dilchill, I'm getting to you right now. Dom said, would it be better to get a short... Hold on. You didn't send anything else, so I'm going to assume you're talking about like Sensonics or something. Nano Dimension's not doing anything FDA-wise. Maybe in the future, if... We'll get to that in the interview. Would it be better to short squeeze before FDA approval or as a result of FDA approval? That's anyone's guess. You have to figure out how cheap you would like to buy anything in the markets and feel comfortable with that. Like using Nano Dimension as an example right now, if you think it's going to $5 and it's $5.40 right now, are you willing to possibly miss out on 40 cents just to perfectly time the market, or is this cheap enough for you? You just have to, determine, I guess, your level of greed. If you don't want to be that greedy, then I think Nano Dimension is cheap right now. But if you want to be just a little more greedy, you could say maybe $5 or $4.90. But I mean, realistically, who catches the bottom every time? So again, that's on you to decide what price you're happy with. Ryan, both. Holding 3150 shares for now, quite a bag. We'll definitely buy more shares and average down, especially if it hits the $4 range. I'll even sell my crypto if that happens. It's funny. I was thinking about that too, just based on the value arbitrage. I have some Bitcoin right now, or at least, I have the private keys to some Bitcoin, because technically Bitcoin never moves, right? That's a topic for another video. Maybe I don't know. If it gets that cheap, it's really enticing, because $4 to $8 is not too tremendous, though that is a premium for Nano Dimension right now. CJ, you're welcome. Michael Don, business fundamentals should always be a major factor with stock movement. Yeah, they should. But are they always? Not really. Yeah, I did check out Alibaba, though I'm not really interested just because of all the stuff going on in China right now. And the U.S. kind of like not in good relations with China, especially in stocks and like the way they audit their businesses and that entire spiel. Like, I don't know, how do you track something in China if they don't let auditors from here to, check out the businesses? Elaine smiled, just a way to say hello. Hello, Elaine, yet again. Okay, you guys can keep typing in the chat. I'm going to go to the interview. We're going to watch that. Hopefully it's not too loud, so just let me know if it's a little too loud. I have it on 1.25. Give me a sec.
Hi, Valentin. Great to have you with us today.
Hi, Craig. It's great to be here. It's a real pleasure.
Nano Dimension is a leader in the emerging field of precision additive manufacturing. What exactly is precision additive manufacturing?
Well, additive manufacturing or 3D printing has become widely known in the past decade. Precision additive manufacturing is where we play in the world of microns. Additive manufacturing of electronics and additive manufacturing of micro precision mechanical parts. And those are two very exciting segments of the additive manufacturing market because they're growing fast and we have a leading position in them. And our vision is to transform the electronics sector and similar sectors into economically and environmentally friendly segments with the help of intelligent machines that allow for distributed production anytime and anywhere. Saying you upload a file to a system, you push a button, and the digital part is then turning into a physical part wherever you need it, whenever you need it.
What type of...
Pretty much you can keep your inventory in a cloud, and let's say you're in Texas and someone needs something in New York, and let's say the place in New York doesn't have the file or something. If you're in Texas, you can make the file, send it to New York. The printer in New York can print out whatever it is you need on the spot, on demand. There's literally no supply... in the process, there's nowhere for the supply chain to really mess up because you're printing it on the spot. So unless the printer messes up, you're going to have your part, if you understand what I'm saying.
Industries can benefit most from this innovative and revolutionary technology?
The main benefits are, one, acceleration of development by implementing agile methods of product development into hardware development. Developing something, taking the digital file and printing it overnight. The second advantage, the second benefit for customers is what we call HiPads, high performance electronic devices that have a better performance than compared systems because they're lighter, they're smaller, they have integrated assembly steps like an additional RF piece, they have non-planar, non-conformal shapes. And the last thing, which is the biggest potential, is digital inventory. And by digital inventory, I mean you only send a file around the world, and that allows you to produce, by the push of the button, with a machine, something anywhere and anytime. And this is highly interesting for defense and DoD organizations around the world that all have created additive manufacturing programs. It's also very relevant for aerospace and other industries that look for miniaturization and weight reduction. And it's also highly relevant for all industries that have basically the need to integrate in a smaller package with higher frequencies, more components.
Looking specifically at one of those industries, the defense industry, which you...
All I'm saying is whenever, at least in my belief based on, what their vision is, I think whenever Nano Dimension takes off, it's going to look so, in hindsight, it's going to look so obvious that you should have owned this early on, especially if you're doing the work now and understanding what they're doing. I believe it'll look so obvious in the future.
You just mentioned. Let's talk about how your technology revolutionizes the manufacturing process. How are things typically done today, and how does Nano Dimension's precision additive manufacturing technology improve these processes?
Let's look at electronics manufacturing today. A PCB factory where printed circuit boards are produced has over 70 assembly steps with many high-tech machines, but it's an analog process. Saying you need to produce it in a factory and then ship the parts all around the world where they're needed for spare parts or in the field. With our technology, we bring all those 70 assembly steps, drilling, electroplating, etching, into one system. And that allows the production of spare parts, or in the future even systems, in the field, cutting down the whole supply chain and creating a significant advantage. Spare parts is only the thing to start with. Imagine a future world where drones and other systems will be produced in a container, in the field, and are ready to use.
Valentin, can you give us another example of how precision additive manufacturing is revolutionizing an industry?
Okay, I'm going to pause it there. If you guys haven't checked out already, you guys should most definitely check out Nano Dimension's Twitter, because they like to post things here. So if you aren't already signed up to their Twitter page, make a Twitter account. Download the app if you don't have it. Make a Twitter account and follow 3D PCB. Yeah, you can keep track of what they're doing. They actually released this where is it? I'm trying to find like the drone that they showed us. They made a drone here and now I can't find it. Anyways, they shared a photo with us of a drone and now I can't find it. But anyways, irrelevant, I guess, at this point. Let's carry on with the
Let's consider precision additive manufacturing as an enabling technology. An enabling technology like artificial intelligence or the combustion engine over 100 years ago. Take the Wright brothers, who created a new industry. They were only able to create flight because they had a combustion engine to power their aircrafts. A steam engine wouldn't have had the relation in power and weight and allowing them to fly. And the technology we are having is similar. It will allow for new parts that are smaller, lighter, better, and most of all, more integrated than they used to be. Imagine micro drones in the size of bees that could be used for agriculture one day. Or imagine very efficient and small sensor packages for autonomous vehicles or autonomous flight. Imagine new biosensors that allow fast detection of diseases or medical devices that are so small that they can fit in your body. Or last but not least, quantum sensors that not yet really have been developed. This and many other
this sounds pretty insane to me.
fascinating new applications can be developed with the help of our industry. Plus, every industry can benefit from digital inventory. And digital inventory is allowing supply chains to completely disrupt. Let's take an in-ear hearing aid, for example, that is produced today in many different steps. A PCB is produced, the PCB is assembled, the assembled PCB is put into a cover, and the outer cover is then sealed and concluded, and the part is sent around the world to the person that needs it. Many assembly steps, many people that cut off margin in these steps. In the future, it could be just one machine. You take the scan, it's fully adjusted to your physique, and then the complete in-ear hearing aid is coming out of one machine in one assembly step. And this
What I think is kind of funny here, though, with Nano Dimension, they haven't really changed the design of the machine because everything that they're modifying is internal. So it kind of looks like they had like a dwarf-sized machine and then they like watered it and then it grew. Anyways, irrelevant. Let's keep
will
going.
enable us to go into many industries with digital inventory.
Valentin, how big is the market opportunity for precision additive manufacturing?
The market for additive manufacturing of electronics and additive manufacturing of precision micromechanical parts is forecasted to be $18 billion in 2025. And that is only taking into account the substitution and growth of existing markets by the additive manufacturing technology. The interesting thing, one, is that the fastest growth segment in this market is additive manufacturing of electronics. And in additive manufacturing of electronics, Nano Dimension has a leading position, and we are at least 2 to 3 years ahead of competition. When you look at the market projections of $18 billion, this is not taking into account what one might say is a blue ocean. Blue ocean referring to market spaces with new products that do not exist today, such as micro drones that could be used for agriculture, such as human machine brain interfaces, or such as quantum sensors that not have been developed and matured yet. So we believe that the market potential, based on the forecast and the potential blue oceans over that, will enable us to grow significantly over the next 5 to 10 years.
Let's recap. What is the key takeaway? Why should investors take an interest in Nano Dimension today?
Nano Dimension is in fast-growing markets. Nano Dimension additionally has an enabling technology like artificial intelligence or combustion engine 100 years ago that will enable new markets and products, blue oceans. Plus, Nano Dimension has a strong management team and a strong balance sheet with a solid cash position that will allow us to execute on our plans and grow organically and over M&A to be the leaders in the market and to stay the leaders in the market.
It is a great story, Valentin. Thank you for being with us today.
Craig, thank you so much. It was a real pleasure.
Okay, I hope that was insightful. If you guys were really paying attention, I think they made it pretty clear that they want to work on primarily micro, ultra high precision prints, and hopefully in the future they can integrate that with their existing additive manufacturing of electronics. So, yeah, Nanofabrica was one of their acquisitions, and I think that's exactly where the Fabrica 2.0 came from. Completely unintegrated with their current Dragonfly LDM, but it doesn't mean that they won't try and work on that. I'm pretty sure that's exactly what they're working on. Oh, as far as stock price, yeah, anything can happen. Literally, anything can happen. That's why it makes more sense if you understand what you're getting into. Don't, go all in on derivatives that expire, options contracts. If you're going to do that, again, this is not financial advice, but I would prefer, just waiting for a little volatility and selling put options and collecting some time value. Thank you, Marco, for the sub. And just collecting that time value, collecting some of those premiums, and maybe using those premiums to, build your position if you don't have, the income viable to just, DCA into Nano Dimension. Owning the stock, it's yours. No one's gonna, throw you out of the market as long as you don't have any, limit orders to sell below a certain price. Really, it's just DCA. That's it. DCA and pay close attention to what they're doing. And that doesn't mean like looking at charts all the time. It just means like, pay attention to what they are doing as a company. Nothing too out of the extreme, right? You guys want to take a peek at stock twits? So Nano Dimension's up 1% today. Pretty nice, right? For something that you would like to get more of. It's not up 100% today, thankfully. Exactly. Yeah. The thing that really sucks though about buying call options is that you can buy it for, let's say, January 2023, and nothing could happen for the next, 14 months, and in February 2023, something crazy happens, and then it moons, and you were off by a month. You got what I'm saying? Yeah, stock twits I take with a grain of salt, but it's fun to read. It's fun to read what people have to say about it, because there's a lot of people looking at Nano Dimension now. It wasn't quite popular last year, but now it's definitely a lot more popular. Nano Dimension is one of the top trending stocks. Is it? Like on the caliber with like Neo Or what other high caliber stocks are there that are pretty popular? Like Palantir, Peloton, stuff like that. I know it really all is confirmation bias. You just got to do your own research when it comes down to it. I can sit here and show you all the beautiful things about Nano Dimension. I can talk about even some of the risks, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't matter what I say, because if you haven't done the research, then you just won't be able to build your own conviction. So I'm just trying to point you guys to all the sources that I use so you guys can, also do it, Tesla, my Esla, financial education. Can't live without it. Anthony, you're hilarious, dude. Fab said, what strike would you sell calls on to collect decent premiums? If you're selling calls, it makes more sense to sell calls when the market's been, up and rallying for a while and it's approaching some relatively strong resistance levels, so that way you can maximize your premiums. And if you mix that with a little volatility, you can collect some good premiums. If you're selling calls right now, you might get burnt a little bit. In the event that it goes, in the money for you. But I don't know. That's entirely up to you. It makes more sense to sell calls when the market's rallying and to sell puts when the market is kind of like dumping. Of course, I would prefer out of the money for the most part. What's up, Captain RRRR? Except you changed your name. I think your name is what's your name? You changed your name. Whatever. Captain's been on this channel forever. Shib to the moon. What happened to Shib? Why is everyone talking about Shib now? Shiba Inu? Oh, okay. Is this the moon? Is this the moon for Shiba Inu? So from its release, we're down 50%. But from this kind of range, we're up like triple, just about. Yeah, I mean, you could use altcoins to kind of like get those like really quick gains and then put it into other things. Truthfully, I'm not sure there is any fundamental value in these tokens besides there's more than one person willing to buy and sell it. Yeah, be careful with these. You can make some money, just be careful. Chino, that's what it was. Nano Dimension price in 5 years. I think Nano Dimension could be, assuming no share dilution from where it is right now, I think they could be, let's just use normal market metrics, right? Like, okay, they got a $1.5 million contract. That's going to show up on their fourth quarter financials, right? So that means that, let's say they could do that every year, and that scales to, let's say in the next 10 years, they get like, I don't know, like how many contracts can, let's say they get 10 of those. So that's like 15 million times 4. Okay, so 60 million in a year annualized sales. And we know for a fact that's not what it's going to be, but that's just like with contracts. It's not even machine sales. Man, that's really anyone's guess. Let's say they could do 100 million a year in revenues. With a 10 times multiple, that is a price to sales of 10 to 1. That's around $1 billion for the price to sales on the company, not including their balance sheet. So, what, $1 billion? That's really not much higher than where it is right now. The difference though is that they have a bunch of cash on the balance sheet. So, they're going to go from being valued on the balance sheet to being valued on revenues. Honestly, at least at least 20 bucks, 20 to $30. That's just being conservative. I think that's fair in the next 3 to 5 years. I mean, if you're getting it for $5, if it goes to $30 and you DCA for the next 4 to 5 years, you're going to compound that. You get what I'm saying? Josu Sam, what is up? What's up, Java? Skipping the gains. You don't feel like working out anymore? We're getting all fat. That's right, I called you out on my stream. Okay. Just got some more Nano Dimension on this awesome fire sale. Yeah, they're close to book value right now. If you guys didn't already know, I post these pre-market briefings on my Discord channel. If you go to my Patreon and you sign up for the Discord, I just upgraded the Discord server to do live streams there too. So not only can you get the morning briefing there, but if it comes down to it and enough people join, I'll start doing some more live streams there too. So I'm going to post that here in the links for you guys to join. And then we'll go from there. Also, I did activate YouTube memberships as well. If that is something you guys are also interested in, that is for more selecting what kind of content I make. Though I still think that I'm going to be making a lot of Nano Dimension content regardless. So don't be persuaded or swayed otherwise. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Nope, that doesn't work. Okay, I messed up. I have to figure out my link real quick. I thought I had it. I thought I had it correct. I think it's user. I'm going to ignore this one. Paste this one. There, I think this one will work. There you go. This is what it looks like, guys. So go and join that. I'm going to pin it to the top. Okay, Ryan. Ryan said, I am extremely curious about the DeepCube technology they bought. I imagine its output kind of works like compound interest in quality, if that makes sense. I think I know what you're saying. Like it kind of branches out and just gets better the more it, I guess, computes. I'm not sure exactly how their technology works, but if you go to Dr. Eli David's website, he's the one behind a lot of that. I say a lot, guys. If that bothers you, please let me know. I always try and catch myself when I say It's a really bad habit. Speaking is a skill, by the way, in case anyone, was wondering. That's why in like Skyrim and all those games, like speech is a skill that you can max out. My speech is probably like a 35 right now. Yeah. Go on to Eli David's website if you want to learn more about DeepCube and how this technology works.
You go to anti-aircraft.
Go on this website. They added Dr. Eli David to the board. This is where you could find all of his publications and this video right here that's very insightful. Do you guys want to watch that like right now? Honestly, like we're not doing anything specific, so why don't we do that? Am I still doing backflips for Patreon subscriptions? No. Oh, that's funny. You were definitely there that night. Yes, I could do a backflip. No, I don't want to do that for subs though. Yeah. Finite analysis and engineering, but via artificial intelligence. So it has like a level of understanding versus just being programmed to do one thing. Do I get that right, Anthony? Okay. Yeah, let's get a little background on Dr. Eli David. He has a Twitter account too. If you want to follow him, go on here and follow Dr. Eli David. He follows me, by the way, not to toot my horn. Hee. Not to toot my own horn, as Yoav Stern would say. We'll watch it here in just a second. I want to make sure I didn't miss anything on Nano Dimension's Twitter page that would be of, like, you know, significant interest. Though the one I was really interested in showing you was the 3D printed drone that they put on here. The James Academy. We'll watch this one next. We're gonna watch the Dr. Eli David publication first. All right, we're gonna start it now. I'm gonna be answering you guys in text chat too, by the way. So just message me in the text chat. We'll keep it going. So no worries.
Hello, everyone. When I was in school, my teachers used to complain to my parents that I don't come to the school. And they were right. I was spending most of my time in chess tournaments, at chess clubs. That was what I was doing. But when, by the age of 17, I didn't become a grandmaster, the highest level in chess, I figured out I'm too old to ever have any realistic chance at becoming world chess champion. So what did I do? In Israel, we have a saying, if you don't get accepted to become a pilot, you go to anti-aircraft missile division. If I don't fly, nobody flies. So I said, I will develop a chess program that would defeat the world champion. That's how my passion for AI started, and it has been at the center of my life for the past 20 years. AI, artificial intelligence, is a very wide umbrella term. Anything that exhibits intelligence is artificial intelligence. It doesn't have to do any learning. IBM's Deep Blue, who defeated Garry Kasparov in chess in 1997, that was a great example of AI without any kind of learning. It was just one giant calculator. Under AI, we have a certain subdomain, which is machine learning. The difference being that here the machine learns by itself rather than being explicitly programmed. Within machine learning, we have many different subdomains. One of them happens to be neural networks, or deep neural networks, also known as deep learning. Until a few years ago, neural networks was considered a completely refuted field of research that no serious researcher would get into that. That's why I got into that. But there is a big conceptual difference between deep learning and these other forms of traditional machine learning. Let's see what's the difference and how it would apply to cybersecurity. Let's take as an example the problem of face recognition. Now, many of you would recognize the face here. Let's first use traditional machine learning to do that. In traditional machine learning, we cannot feed the raw data, in this case the raw pixel values, directly into the machine learning module. We cannot do that. So what can we do? What we must do instead, bring a domain expert, in this case it would be an image processing expert. They would analyze the problem and tell us what are the most important properties, the features here. A phase known as feature extraction. For example, here the most important features would be, let's say, distance between pupils, distance between nose and mouth, proportions of the face, texture, color, etc. Thus, we convert the raw data into a vector of features and then feed that into our machine learning module. Wherever we use traditional machine learning, these are the steps. For cybersecurity, take an executable file, decide what are the important function calls, vector of features, and then machine learning module. But there are two big problems doing this kind of machine learning. First, by converting the rich raw data, millions of pixels in this example, into a small list of features, as good as they may be, we're throwing away most of the data that we have. We're looking just partial data. But secondly, and even more importantly, we humans, even the best experts amongst us, We're terrible at doing feature extraction. We're not good at articulating the features, the important properties. Let's use a much easier intuitive example to explain that. Now, everyone here, I guess, is a world-grade expert in detecting cats and dogs in images. I see a few experts over there. If I show you a picture of a cat or a dog, in a few milliseconds you will tell me if it's a cat or a dog, and you will have near 100% accuracy. So, who can explain to me what is the difference between a cat and a dog? Well, I will not waste your time. That's why I have students at university. But people usually say, well, a dog is bigger. Yeah, that's maybe a good feature. A dog is usually on the ground. A cat is on your table making a mess with your papers. Tell that to my dog. This is how I found him the other day on my desk. And he's smaller than a cat. He thinks he's a cat. He may very well be a cat. Or at some point, after I waste my students' time too much, they say, oh, there's a difference. The pupils are different. The pupils of dog are more circular. Those of the cat are more elliptic. Finally, a good feature. You recognize the cat and dog here, I hope. And now, even though you see the picture, you still have difficulty explaining that. This thing about our brain, we immediately learn something. We're good at that, but we're not good at the process of converting that knowledge to features, articulating those things. So what's great about deep learning? It's the first and currently the only subfield within machine learning that can skip feature extraction. Using deep neural networks, we would not do any feature extraction. We would just feed raw pixel values directly into our deep neural network. And by creating a deep hierarchy of features that it learns by itself, it will do much, much better. And the results obtained by deep learning in the past few years have been the greatest leap in performance in the history of artificial intelligence. For many kind of benchmarks where we were used to seeing 0.5%, 1% improvement a year, suddenly we see 20, 30% improvement. In vision, for many benchmarks which we have 70% accuracy, now we stand at 97, 98% accuracy, sometimes even surpassing the human accuracy, the greatest revolution we observed. So if the results are so good, and they are amazing, for vision, for speech, for text, why not use it for cybersecurity, to detect the latest malware? We've got a few problems here. The screen is okay, it's working fine. I bet you're seeing random data here. This is not random. This is how it looks if you take an executable file, and you look at some parts of it, the raw bytes, as if they were an image. It looks random to all of us here, but it's full of patterns. The patterns are just not local. We don't see local correlations like in images, like in speech. So any kind of neural net that uses local correlations cannot be applied here. And we have additional challenges. For example, in addition to the fact that we cannot use standard deep learning models, the input varies substantially in size. What if we have two images of different sizes? We just resize them to a predetermined fixed size. What if we have a file which is 100 kilobyte, 100 megabyte, or 100 gigabyte? We cannot just resize that. And the file formats are different. You can be infected by executable file, PDF file, Office file, different file formats. So these are really challenging problems that cannot be, we cannot apply traditional standard deep learning models to them. So what can we do? Many people look at deep learning like a lamb, and you just rub the lamb. The genie comes out the lamb, say, oh, my master, what's your wish? Give me your training data, I will feed them into TensorFlow, and then here is your model, it will work. Well, it's not really like that. Let's see what we need to make it work anyway. First of all, we need lots of data, actually huge amount of data. In this case, cybersecurity, luckily, we have every day 300,000 data. We can quickly grow data sets of hundreds of millions of malicious and legitimate files. We're good at that. We need deep learning experts. Still a hard resource to find the best deep learning people, those who know the field intimately enough to be able to modify the algorithms for this field. Let's say we covered in that as well. And the easiest part, we need a deep learning framework, a software library that allows us to write deep learning models, them to program them, and then run it. This is the easiest thing, right? Let's dwell on this for a moment. So first of all, the good thing about the deep learning frameworks. Until a few years ago, if you wanted to write deep neural network, you would need to write it low level, usually in NVIDIA's CUDA code, the closest to the hardware, because today for training deep learning, GPU is the only relevant hardware. And if you look at the universe of people who have high-level research expertise. And those who know low-level programming, these two worlds really don't intersect. But today, you don't need to do any low-level programming. You can use any of these great software libraries, TensorFlow by Google, PyTorch, Keras, all the others. You will just write your high-level code, and it will automatically be translated to low-level code, and it would work great. This is an amazing breakthrough. Here's the good news. But besides the good, we also have the bad. These frameworks are developed for research, not productization. They have many limitations for productization. They are mostly deployed on cloud due to the many dependencies that they have, and that's problematic. You put it on the cloud because of the specific hardware that they need, lots of memory that they need, even for inference, after you train them for continuous prediction. Sometimes you would like immediate reaction. By the time I send your suspicious file to the cloud and the result comes back, half your network is infected. Sometimes you don't have continuous connection to the cloud. The costs are too high. And it's very challenging to deploy it on edge devices, on your mobile laptop, desktop, because of the need for huge amount of processing power, huge amount of memory that typically you don't have on your edge devices.
Are any of you guys curious about any of the things that he's saying right now? I think this is where it starts to apply to Nano Dimension too. How this is the most feasible solution, because on edge devices, DeepCube's artificial intelligence doesn't require too much memory, but it works just as well. If you guys are liking this so far, by the way, make sure you guys hit that like button. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I would appreciate it very much. What is as for Dragonfly today, that's specifically called out using the tech. Reach a better return on investment. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. It's gonna just increase the efficiency of all the pretty much all the parts of manufacturing that part. Simplifies the process. Okay, we're gonna keep this this video going, and then at the end we could talk about it, and then we'll look at the next resource.
These are some of the big challenges. That's the bad. What comes after the good and the bad? The ugly. The ugly thing about these deep learning frameworks is that expose high-level building blocks. You can imagine, for example, TensorFlow, PyTorch, or all the frameworks, they give you Lego bricks, building blocks, that you can then put them together in infinite ingenious ways and obtain amazing results for vision, for speech, for text. But for some problems, you must modify the core algorithms to make inherent modifications inside these Lego bricks. And if you need to do that, you're completely out of luck. You cannot do that with these frameworks. This is not a speculation. This is a definite future. Every technology will be used for good and for bad. And to prevent this scary future, we must accelerate the pace of adoption to bring amazing results we see in AI from research to productization. What do we need for that? What are the main things? Not only for cyber, but general for deep learning. My firm belief is that to bring the amazing results of deep learning we see in research to mass-scale productization, we must improve edge deployment, edge inference. Exactly like Youngson mentioned before. All the devices that you have, all the IoTs, drones, cameras, mobile, laptop, we need to implement deep learning and put it on inference on those kind of devices. What do we need to do that? Not just for cybersecurity, by the way, for vision, speech, text, all these kind of amazing results. For healthcare, that's one of the most important things we need to bring it on edge devices for inference. We need two main components. First of all, we need faster and more efficient processing. Not necessarily hardware. We're assuming that for better, faster, more efficient processing, we need faster hardware. Not necessarily. There may be an algorithmic solution to this as well, not necessarily hardware. If we look at our brain, for example, we're operating at 20 watts. A single GPU is operating at over 300 watts. What does it mean? It means that most probably there are more efficient versions of
The human brain operates at 20 watts, but a GPU operates at 300 watts. And I'm not sure what kind of multiple of processing power our brains have over a GPU, but I'm sure it's in the maybe in the millions, honestly, for how much our brains can store. But in terms of power usage, it takes, you know, for the GPU to work, it takes maybe 10 brains, but for the same computing power as 10 brains, you would need maybe 1 million or 2 million GPUs or something crazy. Basically, it's more efficient, so that's what he's going at here. We want more efficient AI. So you don't need to upgrade the hardware to get that efficiency, if you get what I'm saying.
The algorithms we're using to be able to deploy it on slower hardware as well. How about memory consumption? Today's neural networks are based on dense representations. A dense multidimensional matrix called tensor, that's why the name TensorFlow comes from. It's all dense. Our brain is extremely sparse. In our neocortex, the cognitive part of the brain, we have 16 billion neurons. Each one of them is connected to only about 10,000 on average. It's very compact and efficient. Maybe we can make deep learning algorithms much more compact and efficient, such that you could deploy them. Well, I would like to show you the most important deep learning paper ever published. Learning represents
Okay, would you like me to read this this section right here? He said it's the most important piece of deep learning publication ever released, so it must be important, right? We describe a new learning procedure, backpropagation for networks of neuron... I'm going to mess up, I feel like, if I read this. Neuron-like units. The procedure repeatedly adjusts the weights of the connections in the network so as to minimize a measure of the difference between the actual output vector of the net and the desired output vector. As a result of the weight adjustments, internal hidden units, which are not part of the input or output, come to represent important features of the task domain, which I'm sure no one in here knows what a task domain is, and the regularities in the task are captured by the interaction of these units. The ability to create useful new features distinguishes backpropagation from earlier, simpler methods such as the perceptron convergence procedure. Okay, that was some fluff that I didn't understand. Anyways, we're going to go back to this.
Every deep learning algorithm you use, for vision, for speech, for text, for cybersecurity, you're using this algorithm, the backpropagation algorithm, for training the neural net, for gradually updating the synapses of the neural net until it trains. And this paper was co-authored by Geoffrey Hinton. For the past 30 years, he relentlessly focused on neural nets. His entire life was devoted to the research of neural networks, where nearly everyone was convinced that it's a futile attempt and nothing good will come out of neural networks. And he's, by the way, the reason why I got into neural networks. I really believed in what he believed in. And he's a co-author of this most important paper. When do you think he wrote this paper? And by the way, he's also one of the main figures behind the current renaissance of neural networks, the current deep learning. When did he write it? 2 years ago? 5 years ago? 3 years ago? 32 years ago, 1986.
Yeah,
the most important deep learning algorithm, which every deep learning today is using, was written 32 years ago.
Oh, so
is
it's
it
old
possible
technology.
that nobody can improve upon this algorithm? We cannot make it more efficient? Let's see what Geoffrey himself thinks about that. When asked, he said, my view is throw it all away and start again. Maybe not throw it all away and start again, but at least
we throw out most of it.
Find some major improvements on top of it. At the beginning, I told you about my passion 20 years ago. It was chess and computer chess. This is my passion today. I spend my time focusing on this kind of core research to making neural networks much sparser, much more compact, to be able to, instead of hundreds of megabytes of memory, use tens of megabytes of memory. So that instead of having large dedicated hardware for inference, we can put them on edge devices. and get closer to the vision that in a few years from now, we could employ neural networks on each and every
Do you think
device
guys who
in the
play
world.
chess are just somehow
very much.
inherently smarter than people who don't play chess? Because apparently he was like a chess master when he was a kid, and he ended up in, you know, artificial intelligence. I wonder if that has anything to do with it, or if you just watch enough, you know, Queen's Gambit or something, and then you can get into AI. Kyle W, any clarity on the Google partnership with Nano Dimension? Not that I'm aware of right now. Like I posted on my Twitter the other day, like just a couple days ago actually, or was it yesterday? I think it was yesterday. Look at this post. Okay, that's the meme. I said Nano Dimension. They mentioned Google once, and then you start to like ponder what are all the possibilities that this actually turns out to be, you know, a huge partnership that we're just like not really being told much about. It's just, you know, when you start realizing things. Anyways, but like actual partnership, you know, like news, not that I know of. CJ, wow, indeed. Anthony, I don't get what you're saying. It was a fairy tale on my VIC 20 at the time, 3K of RAM, like memory. Bread and circuses. I'm insinuating that if you watch Percy, I'm insinuating that chess has some correlation, maybe, that being, you know, a master at chess has some correlation with higher thinking occupation, like, you know, getting involved in stuff like artificial intelligence, I guess. I don't know. I'm just, you know, saying stuff that makes no sense, I guess, at this point. chess and smarts. Commodore. Okay. VIC 20? No. What is VIC 20? Enlighten me, please. Maybe I live under a rock. Guys, go ahead and follow my Twitter page at JohnPaulInvest. And show some support there if you haven't already. I would appreciate it, and you guys will get all of my updates to your Twitter inbox, or to your Twitter feed, I should say. Google Glass failed. Yeah, it was just... It sounds good on paper, but in practice just didn't work. Yeah, Google Glass was a total flop. Like, it seemed cool, but, you know, like having those glasses on and like someone's talking to you, and then in kind of like in their peripheral vision they see like a little camera, and it's like just you're watching and recording and filming everything. It's just kind of weird. I guess it's okay if you're vlogging though, right? Or doing a prank. You're welcome, CJ. Yeah, I can see it too, Kyle. Google, AMD, Tesla, L3 Harris partnering with Nano Dimension to build specific chips. I don't know if they would partner, or if they would just like, hey, Nano Dimension, can you like, let's say I'm working at Tesla, like I'm Elon Musk. Yeah, I'd like one of your printers. Just sell it to us, and we'll see what we can do with it. Of course, that's not how it works with Nano Dimension, but maybe with a little training, they would want it hands off, because you know how like vertically integrated Tesla is. They're, I think, like 90% vertically integrated or something, maybe even higher. Showing our age, Anthony. What does Nano Dimension need to get back to $10 per share? It needs continued support, and it needs material developments in its company. We got to clear the order book of all those. You want Nano Dimension to $10? You're going to need to clear this order book of. How do I see the order book here? That I am unaware of how to do on TradingView. But pretty much, we got to get... I'm pretty sure there's like a wall here. I think I saw it on Twitter. Hold on. If you go on Twitter and then you type in $NNDM and then just press enter, you'll see a few guys who are talking about it here. Like Jane Rowland, she talks about Nano Dimension a bit. She's the one who shared Redship's tweet this morning that I was notified of. This guy, Jonathan, Nano Dimension, he's a pretty big bull on Nano Dimension. Except he didn't really post any substance here, but, you know, people are bullish here. I saw a nice chart showing that. Oh, hey, by the way, here it is. Here's the post that Nano Dimension shared. This is a 3D printed drone from Nano Dimension. This was done using their jetted additively manufactured electronics solutions. I think this is like a community thing right here that we're looking at. But where is... Here you go. Look at this this wall right here. So we have to penetrate all of this volume of Nano Dimension stock above, you know, $5, 50, 60 cents. We're going to have to get, you know, through all of that. We're going to have to go through all of these orders, and we're going to have to work our way up. See, I mean, the bid ask is right around here. Price action wise to get to $10, I think what would make sense, if we're going to think like, you know, market makers or, you know, some whales who are very interested in Nano Dimension but kind of want to, you know, force people out with some big purchases or big shorts, I think it would make sense to go... You see how like symmetrical these are? Like this one kind of breached. This low right here breached this low a bit and then pulled back. Once this bounced, a bunch of people are buying, right? So I think that anyone buying in this range is putting, you know, stop losses below these levels and probably below $5. I think it would make sense for them to pull price down there and capture all of that liquidity and then pull them back up higher in the intended original direction. Maybe for it to go to $10, we would need to see an under $5 Nano Dimension stock. There's a ton of liquidity on the upside, so it might want to grab a little bit more on the downside and then capture everything that's up here. And then we'll probably rally again. Honestly, just based on, you know, technicals, maybe in middle of next year, we'll start approaching $20 or something, just based on technicals. If it continues to, you know, squeeze in smaller and smaller ranges, I would say at least by the middle of next year, we're above, you know, $12. That would be, you know, reasonable still. But then again, remember, you're at $12, you are paying a premium for Nano Dimension, at least in today's price. Maybe in future terms, maybe it doesn't matter. If you're expecting Nano Dimension to be $100, what difference does it make buying it at, you know, $5 or $10? You know. If it prints in 0 gravity in orbit, holy yeah, that would be insane. I think maybe the I don't see why they wouldn't be able to do that, besides the particles not being able to stick onto the board just because of 0G. I think things in 0 gravity like to form into little globes. They don't spread out. You know, whereas we have gravity here, which actually helps spread the particles as they, you know, laser jet them, or, yeah, 3D print. Yeah, could be a possibility. I think with the nanofabrica technology, I think that one would work the way it's designed now, because it like makes layers that cure using like I believe it's like light, or like UV light or something. Nanofabrica has a different way of making the boards, or whatever they're making, not boards, but they're printouts, you know, the micro parts. Yeah, we're gonna have a totally different machine for Nano Dimension to be $100. $100 Nano Dimension puts them at $25 billion. For those of you who are unaware, $1 per Nano Dimension is $250 million valuation. $10, $250 million. No, wait, yeah, $2.5 billion. Sorry, and $100 would be $25 billion. This is our Nano Dimension to $100 music. Who wants to be a millionaire? Okay. I'm glad I still have that window open. Oh. We're going to the moon, guys. Just not tomorrow. Once they figure out mass production, they're gonna have to like market it, right? And then they're gonna have to like roll out these machines. So they have to like build these machines, and then they have to get them out there, and then these people have to learn how to use the machines, and then build teams around it. Like, that's a process, you know? Like, that's gonna take a while. A centrifuge model, that would be sick. Yeah, I mean, if they could just simulate, if they can simulate gravity with just some rotational inertia, like, I'm sure they could get that printer working on the space station. It's just, I don't think this, like, how come they don't do that? How come they haven't designed something like that? Have they not already designed like a space station that rotates to simulate gravity? Also, something to point out is Nano Dimension, I believe, is expecting their earnings soon too. We're in October, so I guess we wouldn't see Nano Dimension's earnings until November, I would say, right? Because we got January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September. Yeah, probably not till the end of this month, but I think we have a good idea of what it's going to be. It's probably going to be somewhere around 800,000 to 1 million if we're lucky, and they announce, no, I'm pretty sure it's going to be under 1 million still for third quarter. How much are other 3D printing companies a threat? I don't think there's any that really is a legitimate threat to Nano Dimension at this point. I don't remember the name of the company, but there is... it's going to be so hard to find it. Pretty much what these other guys are doing, the only thing that would involve some kind of 3D printed electronic is like a... so instead of 3D printed, you know, additive manufacturing of electronics, this other company, they have like a silver Nano ink. I don't even know if it's a nano ink. Pretty much, it's just printed on top of an existing surface. So any contour on it, it's going to follow the device. And then it's really an external process. But Nano Dimension, I mean, is also an external process, right? But it builds it in layers. This is just one layer superficially. That's what competitors are doing right now, which is not at all on the caliber of what Nano Dimension is doing right now. It's not their focus. They don't have, they just don't have that that vision, I guess. GigaPress kind of looks like what 3D printing potential could be. Could be, yeah, I know, right? Exone. Okay, let me know what kind of direction you would like me to steer this this live stream at. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, by the way, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you are enjoying any of this content. And if you'd like to be more involved in the community here, consider joining the Patreon group in the top of the chat. It is only $5 a month, and you can talk to myself and a bunch of other guys who are in these chats in the private Discord group with live streaming as well, and a plethora of other resources that we share on there outside of this live stream. If that's not something you could do, I do have YouTube memberships as well. That is $2 a month, and I am more likely to, answer your questions and pick any videos that you decide to vote on in my member-only polls on YouTube. So, yeah, consider those two if you enjoy my content. Anthony, man, you're putting some like straight science in this chat. Straight science in here. FDM printer. A lithographic-based printer uses liquid polymers, so it would be a ball up in 0 gravities. Need the microgravity unit to work. Yes, I agree. Metamaterials and Nano Dimension need to connect. I mean, they don't need to connect, but it could be a synergistic partnership if they did. Because Nano Dimension needs materials, but I think it's in their best interest to produce the materials themselves if they're trying to vertically integrate their business into other vertical industries. Like, I think depends how they want to take the business. I mean, if they're smart, they could really like do something crazy as far as capitalizing on their own technology. I appreciate it. Hooked on Jeep and Products. Been following for about a year. I appreciate it. Thank you for following the channel. What applications could Nano Dimension be helping Google with? Well, Google isn't only like cloud storage. I know Google has... what does Google have that's like hardware? I know Google works on all kinds of different products, like anything that they can incorporate some kind of artificial intelligence or software, which is in electronics, they can use. So they can, I mean, they could do whatever really with that. Maybe they could apply it to their server rooms. I mean, really, we don't know. We have to speculate at this point because he only mentioned Google. Yoav Stern only said Google's name once in that interview. He said it one time and then that was it. Didn't say anything else. He said we have customers like L3 Harris, Secret Service agencies, Google. That's what he said. He said Google. What else? That's it. We're going on... How long have we been on this live stream? We're going on an hour and a half in the live stream. Cool. Hope you guys are enjoying this. Waymo, right? Yeah, exactly. They can use Waymo. We're on Kathy's arc trying to get some gauge on what ARK Invest is doing with their Nano Dimension holding. It's number 19 in their ARKQ fund, 2% weight. They made some significant purchases, and I guess they slowly sell off pieces just to be a little bit liquid with what they purchase, but they want to have that initial position. So they have sold between the 16th of September to the 27th of September, so over around 11 days, including weekends, they have disposed of around maybe 100,000 shares. That's it. So 100,000 times, what is it, $5 or $6? So $500,000. It's really nothing if you're talking about ARK Invest. And that's just in one of their funds. They could, yeah. I definitely could, especially the smaller the part, I think the more applicable Nano Dimensions technology is, because they can fit the more precise they get parts, the more they can print within a predetermined surface area. So if they got a foot by foot to work with, if what they're printing is a foot by a foot, they can only print one. But if it's 1 micron by 1 micron, then they could produce, I don't even know how many, like 100,000 of whatever it is they're trying to print. 100,000 units within that same foot by foot. So the smaller the better, the print. The smaller the print, the better it is for the use. As of now, I don't think they're focusing on 3D printing entire like mega structures yet, at least. Their new upcoming glass reboot. Interesting. I just want to look at Nano Dimension stock one more time. Nothing's really happening. It's 1 o'clock. The market's pretty, dead at this point, just because I feel like the market's definitely made up its mind for now. So, are we trading in the 50 area? It's like halfway-ish. Yeah, that's where we are. We're trading in the middle of the range, so you just got to figure out how cheap you want Nano Dimension if you're going to buy it. No, I'm pretty sure, Brett, I'm pretty sure he was talking about existing companies in that interview. I don't recall anything about Amazon. But I wouldn't be surprised if they do have, maybe Google didn't buy a machine from them. Maybe Google is using Nano Dimension's Nano S services. Possibly. We don't know. It's all speculation right now. WIMI is a 3D holographic environment presentation company. I think it's going to hypergrow from below $4, where it's at right now. Okay. Sounds interesting. As far as price and valuation, you have to look at its financials, how many shares are outstanding, how many are registered, what kind of market they're trying to address, all those things. Who's running the company. Yeah, that's I have $5 puts open right now, actually. I have some already, so trying to let this expire. You read my mind. See, someone here is trying to apply Elliott wave or something to Nano Dimension. Maybe he's right. I don't like diagonal trend lines. Some of you guys may know that. I believe horizontal support and resistance is king because it represents price. Maybe he's right. I still think, personally, I think it needs to dip below 540 a little harder before it wants to make that run up. I looked at Nano Dimension chart and it looks like it's at the same spot today as last year before it broke out. I trust your chart skills. What do you see? I'm trying to learn every day. Thanks. Yeah. It does look pretty similar though, doesn't it? Here's some more astrology for you guys in Nano Dimension. Maybe this is like a huge wedge right here. I don't think it's going to squeeze as hard as people are expecting it to squeeze, but I think it would make sense at least to go to around, like when I say a really hard squeeze, I don't think it's going to squeeze past $18. I think it'll squeeze to above $10 maybe, likely above 8, but if we're lucky, like 10, you know? Let me go back onto Nano Dimension's page real quick, because Sean Patterson released this on October 1st, or Nano Dimension released this on October 1st. Should be of interest. Sean Patterson. So for those of you who don't know, Sean Patterson is the president of America's Nano Dimension, so the American market. Sean Patterson joined Nano Dimension. They put an S there. Nano Dimensions? No, it's not Nano Dimensions. It's Nano Dimension. Sean Patterson joined Nano Dimension in June 2021 as the president of Americas. He was most recently an executive at Amazon, where he held leadership roles in their transportation and healthcare groups. He has scaled operations, programs, and engineering groups from pilots to hundreds of facilities and thousands of employees and assets. Before this, he was an executive at TTM Technologies, which I believe is one of Nano Dimension's distributors, where he led manufacturing operations, leading multiple aerospace and defense manufacturing plants and integration of acquisitions and restructuring. While over there, he oversaw the expansion of TTM Technologies' printed circuit board assembly plants and vertical growth in the supply chain. While at TTM, he was a first adopter of Nano Dimension's equipment as he pushed to revolutionize legacy manufacturing processes. He served as a U.S. Navy submarine officer following his time at the United States Naval Academy with a Bachelor's of Science in Systems Engineering, complemented by a Master's of Science in Nuclear Science and Engineering from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He is married and has 2 boys. Just a little background in Sean Patterson for anyone who is unaware of his existence. I'm pretty sure I made a video on that in the past. Yeah, let's look at this. This is posted on October 1st, I believe. Should be pretty interesting.
We're making equipment that manufactures 3D printed electronics, or what we like to call additively manufactured electronics, or AME. That works on printing 3D.
Is this loud enough, by the way, guys? Can you hear it?
Dielectric and a conductive ink. And one of the fantastic things that I know we wanted to discuss today that I've really been thinking about a lot lately in this technology is truly the revolutionary statement that you made. Is we're trying to take an industry that's in a 2D mindset and move it to a 3D world. And it's very challenging. There's a lot that goes into it, and I'm really happy to discuss that today with you.
So Sean, just to
continue to interact in the chat, guys. Leave your comments. I'm going to be responding.
So printed circuit boards kind of run everything. Everything we do has got a chip in it. It's got a semiconductor in it. Yeah, I think you have one there. Maybe you can hold one up. There you go. So everything is made of these things except for the lettuce at the store. And so and they're made by, you know, layering things, and there's lots of great technology that has allowed us to do that. To your point, it's all two-dimensional. So when I heard that we've been hearing the last several years about 3D printers, so that's not news anymore, but the idea that you could use the 3D printer to make a new type of circuit, just, I kind of went like that. And I'm curious, and I want to get to the part about the design thinking, but what is it, what do you think is the power that this unleashes? What's going to change in the way we think about computing?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, you know, it's a printed circuit board. Ironically enough, it's always been called a printed circuit board for 3D printing. And what you also mentioned for education of the audience, those little black things on there with the chips and the semiconductors. The rest of it is actually the PCB itself for the printed circuit board. And so, yeah, it's what our technology and the technology we're focusing really on in the future is going to change how we manufacture electronics and how most people think about 3D printing. Like, I can print it now on my desktop and here it is, you know, no different than, you know, the future that you have a printing paper on your desktop and you design it on your computer, and we want to get to that place, which is all well and fine. And I think it revolutionizes electronic manufacturing in that way, right? Get it on demand, whereas normal lead times for these things, and I used to be in the industry, it can be, you know, if you pay a lot, you could get it in 5 days, but usually 6, 8 weeks, sometimes months, depending on the complexity of the board. It will change how we think about that as the engineers think about it differently. And so it's, yes, we're going to get it tomorrow and it's fast and it's, you know, we can print a circuit board right next to me, but it's about how you can change it. So we mentioned it's 2D, it's effectively taking a piece of paper that has both a top and bottom with these copper lines connecting all these little components on it. And it's been that way since 1950. Right. And so we took a layer, and then later on, as mainly the moon missions have pushed us this way, they say, oh, we need more layers. So they do layer over layer over layer. So 2D over 2D over 2D, and then we connect it with a hole. And it's been done that way forever, and it still is done that way. In the most sophisticated electronics you have, that is how it's been done. And so it's 2.5D light. And so I think engineers will get their products faster, and we will revolutionize the electronics market, because we can start to get into new form factors by printing it in many, many, many layers, like what I just showed, more like 4,000 layers versus sort of 4 layers of what we're kind of discussing. And so it will change how people think about the manufacturing of the electronics. But the real thing is that will revolutionize electronics. But as you blend this electronics with this 3D, it's really mechanical and electrical coming together in sort of this amorphous blob of a new material. Like, the blob itself is a material that has both electrical properties and mechanical properties. And that's when the world revolutionizes beyond just electronics, because now it's a new thing. It's a new core base of material. It's not just metal. It's not just some other material. It's not those materials manufactured in separate parts of the world and then assembled together. This is this blob of new stuff. And I think when people get to that and they're designing things with that mindset, we will have things that we haven't even dreamed of in aerospace and defense and medical worlds. Very exciting.
Having been a tool maker my whole life, software tools, and doing things that people have never done before, so they've got to invent a new tool to make the thing to do the thing, and all of that with visual effects. I understand the problem, and I think what we've talked about already is that designers are still thinking in the 2D headset. And what kind of work are you doing, if you will, educating them, and are you working with tool makers to make it easier for them to start thinking? I mean, it feels like there's a pretty big educational block to roll up the hill.
There is an educational block. You know, the easy elevator pitch is to say we have a machine that prints 3D circuit boards, and people will get that. But the problem is, by me just saying that, you're now thinking, okay, I have a circuit board. You can print the circuit board that I designed 20 years ago. Yes, but that's not it. It's about the revolution of that industry. Right. And if I can liken it to 3D printing, in the mechanical space, right? We've always designed mechanical, when it was back in paper and then eventually became on computers, CAD and all that kind of stuff. But the mindset has always been 3D. You know, if you go back to the books of Leonardo da Vinci and those kind of things, it's always been 3D. And we've always manufactured in 3D through machining and all these various things. And then 3D printing comes along. Well, we've already designed in that way. We're just manufacturing it slightly differently. And it changes some restrictions on design for manufacturing, but that's not revolutionizing the entire thing. It's an evolution of manufacturing. Now take that to the space in electronics, where it's always been 2D.
I'm getting so many spam calls, guys.
Used to draw.
It's ridiculous.
And you can go get these kits at home, by the way, off the internet, and you draw with a little pen, and you etch away the copper, and you have traces that you designed on your own instead of using wires. So then the software follows through, and the software is 2D in nature. And that software is taught at universities. That software is then given to the companies. And so it becomes, the design is always in that 2D. And now over the course of history, manufacturing in many, many areas used to be with the original equipment manufacturers, OEMs, right? A company designs a product and they manufacture that product. But as things get bigger and more complex, you start to move this out to companies that just focus on the manufacturing, or called contract manufacturers, right? They manufacture based on the design that you give me. So the big companies that we all know of today don't actually manufacture anything. They assemble in some cases, but they're really not manufacturing. They order from somebody. So now you start to diverge the design from the manufacturers. And so manufacturers only support themselves for the designs they're given, right? So I now in the electronics world, I'm having 2D designs. I'm ordering from the manufacturers. My demand as a manufacturer is a 2D design. So I'm going to manufacture it in 2D. The equipment that I buy in my own manufacturing processes supports 2D manufacturing. And so then I update the design rules into the 2D softwares that the engineers then use on their next design. And you have this negative virtuous cycle going on. And so it becomes a revolution in the electronics industry to truly change that mindset. And so we are working with upfront the designer.
Just so it's not just like a video of a video. I also don't want the format to be like that. Pretty much he's just trying to tell us that you have to reimagine manufacturing of electronics. When you think about Nano Dimension, you can't think of just old process. Okay, you get traditional, flat, square circuit boards, and then instead of doing the analog process, you just 3D print it. It's not just limited to that. It's a lot more than that. So I think that's the main takeaway to get here from his presentation, essentially. So I asked, are you a part of the private Discord community already? 9 of you answered no. Well, if you would like to change that, I have a link in the chat that is pinned to the top. If you join that group, you will have access to that community. If I can, I don't think I can open it without changing some of the settings here. Whatchamacallit? You have access to all of live resources on the spot at any point in your phone or on your computer. I post morning briefings on not only Nano Dimension, but just the general market and things that should be of interest to you. We talk about other stocks there as well. And I just activated Nitro on there, so I'm able to actually do high quality video streams and audio quality too. So it's a lot better than the free Discord servers that a lot of people have. I am paying for this. So if you guys would like to join, consider joining, and we'll have a great time outside of these live streams discussing the companies that really matter to us. Now, Facebook recovered a little bit. I just wanted to point that out. Cool. So what do you guys have to say about really about any stocks? Honestly, I'm pretty much up for talking about anything at this point, because we did a lot of coverage on Nano Dimension the last 2 hours. So it would be fair to talk about some other things if you guys so desire. I will not hold any other stocks or talking about any other stocks hostage, so to speak. Yeah, here's the interview we just saw today. All right. I'm going to close that tab. All right, let's talk about the let's talk about this press release. Actually, it wasn't even a press release. This is just at least not yet. It hasn't been released, but it came out here first. So it is a press release, just not from Nano Dimension. This is off of Yahoo Finance's website. Make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, the Fabrica 2.0 micro manufacturing technology was formally confirmed as meeting the high standards of this government agency. So it's good technology, enough to earn a $1.5 million contract for Nano Dimension. Nano Dimension has succeeded in injecting widespread industrial thermoplastic materials such as polypropylene, polyethylene, and acrylonitrile butadiene citrine into a 3D printed mold that was manufactured by the Fabrica 2.0 systems with a new proprietary material that Nano Dimension has developed. See? Materials are the bread and butter for Nano Dimension. So more materials, better for Nano. Sensonic's approval, we were expecting that like 2 months ago, but they were saying, I believe in their earnings call, they mentioned that they were going to push that out to October-ish, maybe. Maybe we'll see something there. I have not seen anything worth like really talking about too much, at least as of now. Oh, this release today. Here's a press release. So the last press release was on September 13th. They just released this yesterday. Let's see what this is about. I just saw this now, guys. Sensonics announces equity grants to employees under inducement plan. Okay. Sensonics Compensation Committee granted 11 new non-executive employees non-qualified stock options to purchase an aggregate of around 74,000 shares of the company's common stock as an inducement for such employees to join the company. The options have an exercise price of $3.45 per share. Where are we now in Sensonics? So their exercise price is 20 cents higher than market value right now. So technically, us retail investors, we're getting a better deal right now, at least according to this press release, which was the closing price of the company's common stock on October 1st, 2021. In each case, 25% of the shares underlying the option will vest on the first anniversary of the employee's start date, with the remainder vesting in monthly installments over the subsequent 3-year period, in all cases contingent on such employees' continued service with the company. Okay. So vested, meaning they're able to purchase it on that day. Sensonics continues to work to bring its Eversense continuous glucose monitor to help people with diabetes. Okay. So nothing really like material. They just said, I mean, they're just sharing with us, hey, we're going to give these people a chance to buy stock at a certain price. That's pretty much all it was. GP, what else am I into besides Nano Dimension? I'm into Sensonics and Bitcoin. Those are probably my 3 largest focuses right now. Those are the 3 things that I think will take me out of, a 5-figure portfolio into like that 6-figure, if I'm lucky, even 7-figure portfolio, if I hold them long enough. That is my bet here. I'll see you later, Anthony. Thanks for stopping by. ABS is one of the strongest, most understood plastics out there. Thanks for your insight, man. He's a freaking scientist. He is a scientist in this chat. All right, we're looking at stock twits again. Nano Dimension's moving up a little bit more. It was 1% earlier. Now it's 2.5% on the day. Here you go. We got our official press release from Nano Dimension finally. Let's see what this guy posted. Do you think I'll make some money on this someday? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, Naweed. Nano Dimension, insanely undervalued. One day, not far away, it will rocket. I hope so, mountain biker. Nano Dimension tech is probably valid given today's news. Right? Like, what more do you need? You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying, in hindsight, it'll look obvious. But people are just really pessimistic for some reason. We already beat last year's earnings already. Dragonfly will be breaking point, but we already started. Now companies can rent this printer. It's wonderful. Nano Dimension's second largest position, and I own like 50 different stocks from Fox on StockTwits. Great news, yet no move. Even institutional investors are bag holding. No new buyers. Delayed rip. Future looks bright. Gotta get the retail frenzy, in my opinion. Someone's excited. Maybe this is what we're going to be looking like in later this month as, you know, Nano Dimension investors. Huh. Sandalo, Nano Dimension. Who knows how many contracts Yoav has on his desk right now? That's a good one. Based on estimates for the next 5 years, Nano Dimension will show a very strong growth in revenue. Doesn't really tell us anything. Notice how many of the shorts who have been posting BS here for months won't touch any post related to dark pool manipulation. Could it be they don't want to incriminate themselves because they are directly involved in that scam? New Nano Fabrica printer will be a good business for Nano Dimension. Sanjay, how much percentage of your portfolio is Nano Dimension? Of my personal portfolio, I would say maybe around 10% of my portfolio is in Nano Dimension right now. Another maybe 5% is in Sensonics, and then I got the other like 85% in Bitcoin right now. I think Nano Dimension could definitely catch up though. Maybe hit 20% of the portfolio. Depends how long we look out, you know. DCA for life. CJ, I'm with you. AI Singularity AI. Hey, John, what news came out? Well, Nano Dimension announced a contract today for $1.5 million with a leading government agency. I'm not sure which one it was. I think it's Homeland Security or one of those. I had it pulled up here a second ago. It was with a leading Western Homeland Security agency. $1.5 million. Someone posted, Nano Dimension, I see a Google contract soon. They could be right. Nano Dimension, I'm very sure Elon would love to have one. Is Nano Dimension on the verge of a face-ripping market-wide rally? Best I can do is 6 cents. Oh, here's an interesting one. Pip Explorer, he's bearish on Nano Dimension, says Fraunhofer Fluff PR took it to $6.80. Then the Google rumor took it to $6.30. Today's press release took it to $5.60. Next press release will come end of this month, and the POS position or piece of is around $4.80. This will take it to $5.20, nice and clean. I don't know. Sounds futile. All of it really sounds futile, to be honest. It is indeed a meme. Guys, this is clear proof the bears on this forum have no idea what they're talking about. I said Nano Dimension revenue is increasing. He proceeded to tell me that I must have no idea what revenue even is, and said that their revenue was negative 14 million. He clearly does not know the difference between revenue and net income. Owning this stock is getting to be irritating as F now. LOL, let's effing go. Is anyone annoyed just holding Nano Dimension stock and seeing it just move sideways and lower? In that case, are you DCA? Maybe Tesla will own one in the future. And it's just one of many contracts coming. Possibly. I wouldn't be surprised if we get more this year. That would be honestly expected. Look at this chart, guys. We are here. Except it looked kind of like this. Like kind of went up and then we're trailing sideways. We are here. And then even bigger money is here. And then we just keep going. And then it gets a little bit parabolic for a while. And then it tapers off. Maybe it's so good it doesn't taper off for a while. Who knows? Not annoyed, gives you more time to get more. I hear you. That's the whole point of DCA. I would rather DCA at lower prices than higher prices, right? Especially if I know what I'm getting myself into. Nano Dimension is not a loved company by Wall Street, at least not now. Eventually, they'll get their heads straight. This is what really like unanalytical thinking looks like, guys. I'm gonna point it out right here. Look at this guy. Elite Traitor. Nano Dimension. Oh wow. $1.5 million. Christ. We insist 1.5 we inject or insist 1.5 billion into Baldy and we get a 1.5 million contract out of it. So is that what God, there's no substance there. Come on, like at least make it interesting for us. I'm an Amazon seller. Oh, you do Amazon FBA? I tried that once. I made a little money on Amazon FBA, but I was not on top of it as I should have been. All of my profits go into investing for my 5-year-old daughter's future. That is an excellent way to think about your future, CJ. I'm very happy for you. DCA stands for dollar cost averaging. Anyone watching? DCA stands for dollar cost averaging, which essentially just means that if you have a certain investment that you are trying to make every month, or in a particular company, you want to make a consistent purchase between a time frame that you choose. So let's say you make, $2,000 to $3,000 a month. You're left with maybe $500 to $600 a month that is disposable, investable income that you don't have to live off of. You can dollar cost average that into whatever stocks you want, either weekly, daily, monthly. You could just put $600 on one purchase. You could do 30 days of $20 purchases. You could do $150 weekly purchases. It's all up to you. But the whole point of DCAing or dollar cost averaging is just being consistent with your purchases. CJ, my brother's name is also John. John is a good name. What can I say? It is an exquisite name. Yeah, exactly. Elite Trader is going to be filling our positions in Nano Dimension. He's going to take a naked short position on Nano Dimension, and he'll be back here on StockTwits. Nano Dimension. Shiba Inu is 5 times the market cap of this company. Wow, that's an interesting perspective. Has anyone thought of, kind of putting them relative to each other? Shiba Inu, which was like literally a meme coin with no fundamentals, is, 5 times larger than Nano. Valuations are just out of whack now. Like, it doesn't even make sense anymore. Just totally out of whack. Yeah, you gotta mine that fiat, CJ, and start investing into things that count, because holding cash is not smart, in my opinion. Tony Liu, one thing you could have done and kept your position is you could sell calls against your stock to gain some time premium. So you would have mitigated some of your losses if you sold call options and kept the premiums. So instead of being down $13, maybe you could have collected maybe $3 or $4 per stock. And instead of being down $13, you're down only around $9 if you account for your premiums. It's a way to mitigate losses. It also does limit your upside, so you have to consider that. Dollar cost averaging, it works down or up. Dollar cost averaging is just a practice. It's like just imagine DCA, instead of it being like a trading strategy, think of it more as like a lifestyle. Okay, it's like intermittent fasting. You just kind of change how you approach it, but besides that, intrinsically you do fundamental analysis the same way and stuff, but instead of trying to like perfect catching bottoms and tops, you just are consistent with the timing of your purchases. That's it. You're more sensitive to time, not price, if that makes sense. AI, singularity, AI. It's just greed money following greed money, aka dumb money. There's a lot of dumb money. I agree with you. A lot of people are introduced into investing with really bad marketing tactics that promise you to get rich really quickly, and it ends up hurting people in the long term because psychologically they're messed up from their first losses because they thought they could make really big gains. And honestly, it's even more dangerous to get really big gains when you're lucky early on, because you start to think that you could just replicate, like 10xing your money. Like last year's market bull run is like once in a blue moon. Like that's not normal. So everyone who got introduced into the market, especially people betting huge on call options and watching them expire to nothing, after winning the first time, they might have 10x their money, and then they're going to end up losing it all because they think that it's replicable. consistently. I mean, it's just not. You have to be patient. Everyone's posting that they bought more Nano Dimension and the price keeps dipping. Nano Dimension has a current ratio of 90.07, so it financially is very healthy and has no problem meeting any of its debt obligations in the short term. I think current ratio is what, working capital, or just every dollar they have for every obligation they have. So pretty much for every dollar of debt, they have $90 to cover it. So they're in no way, shape, or form on the verge of defaulting on their debt at all, for whatever existing debt they have, which is pretty much non-existent at this point. Hey, Tony, everyone has emotions. Everyone's got feelings when they approach it, but what matters is just how you control your feelings. We're human, so we're going to feel. You just have to be able to, manage it once you are set with those emotions. Just really think about what you've learned and what you understand and apply those things. Now, I mean, if it's life-changing money, I can understand how it could be a little difficult, but, I mean, Warren Buffett's survived like 10 market crashes, so why can't we, If you're over-leveraged, it would be hard, but, that's what I'm saying. DPPN. What will Nano Dimension target be for next 1 year? I was saying in the middle of next year, we could see at least an $8 to $10 Nano Dimension stock price. I think it's totally possible. I wouldn't be surprised, though it would be very good. So I would be happy, but not very surprised. I would be happy for my existing position. I would be sad for my increasing of that position. But overall, it would be nice. But yeah, a year from now, I would say maybe, if we're lucky, between $8 and $10. If something really big happens, then it could just fly past that, especially on like market mechanics basis. If we start getting more shorts and like it keeps trading in smaller ranges, then we could see, like a short squeeze. But even then, still, even with a short squeeze, I don't see it like blasting past $18 unless it's really, steep. Volume decreases, a bunch of shorts. Like those are the things that would constitute a big short squeeze. I'm still bullish on Sensonics. COVID's made the FDA approval process a little bit longer than usual. Because the FDA is like focusing on other things. So, I mean, I'm still bullish on it. If there was, there's nothing that signals that it's not happening. Hooked with Jeepin Productions. Should have sold out in February. Within my first 90 days of trading, I was up 520%. Oh my goodness. Yeah, do you see how that can turn really like negative? Like your mindset, how that could really wire you to, yeah, that's the thing. That's dangerous. Now you're up 80%. See, like, dude, anyone like, okay, so the S&P on average the last like 20 years is like, I think 11 or 12%, or maybe even 15% compound annual growth rate. So 80% in a year. I mean, 80% in 90, no, what is that? 9 months annualized. I mean, dude, you're beating, everyone would love to double their money every year. So this year you did incredible. So that's how you have to think about it. Laura Rogers, Nano Dimension, $7.50 January call options. Anyone? I actually have some of those that are pretty much worth nothing right now, though. But I have 12 of those for October, actually. So I bought them a little too soon, I think, but maybe we'll be lucky. Bitcoin's having a nice run right now. I preach actually buying Bitcoin and taking custody of it, but I didn't want to wait for the money to come off of Robinhood into my bank and then buying Bitcoin off of Coinbase and then sending it to my own hardware wallet and all that. Like, I wanted exposure now, especially since Robinhood said that they were gonna activate some the crypto wallets. They're gonna activate, being able to custody your own Bitcoin. So I mean, at some point Robinhood's gonna announce a purchase of Bitcoin too. So that's also something I'm excited for. That would be really big news. So I think Bitcoin is fluffing my portfolio today. Equities have sucked. Technology stocks have sucked. Equities, bonds are even sucking. And Bitcoin keeps ripping. So definitely don't bat an eye against Bitcoin, guys. Don't be closed-minded. Clean Spark? I think I have, but I haven't looked into it in depth at all. Clean Spark. Clean Spark offers advanced energy software and control technologies that enables a plug-and-play enterprise solution to modern energy challenges. Its services consist of intelligent energy monitoring and controls, microgrid design, and ooh, this is interesting. Just based on this, the company's software allows energy users to obtain resiliency and economic optimization, which would be really useful for Bitcoin mining if you understand how that works. Depends on their implementation of it. Guys, look at this. Look at CleanSpark. Thanks for sharing that. This could be one of those stocks that runs, man. Look at the price action. And it's starting to cup upwards. Maybe we could have like a cup and handle formation popping up. Interesting. So I don't know if you guys see this right here. So something like comes down and then it comes kind of goes sideways a little bit, and it goes back up, and then it forms the handle somewhere around here and then breaks past this high. So what are you guys thinking? Maybe like a $16 to $17 Clean Spark stock, which is how much different than where it is right now? That's a around 20, maybe 25% increase in price. I think we could see something like that. That looks entirely reasonable considering the stock has been falling for so long. Now we're zooming out pretty far here, guys. This looks interesting. I would definitely keep an eye on that. Yeah, exactly. Some of these stocks don't really trail the industry or sector that they're in perfectly. So sometimes you find little arbitrage situations where even though it's part of the same industry, it's not really moving upwards, but everything else is. So maybe CleanSpark's one of those. How much is do you know how much CleanSpark is mining Bitcoin? Like how much hashing power do they have in the network? Okay, Atlanta data centers and Clean Block are wholly owned CleanSpark subsidiaries. Okay, so CleanSpark's, the stock is like the umbrella company. With traditional on-site and cloud-based data center services, in addition to operating our own fleet of Bitcoin miners, currently producing approximately 5.5 Bitcoin per day since July 21st. All right, we're going to reverse engineer this right now. I'm curious. All right. 5.5 Bitcoin per day. That is a lot. So let's say maybe they have 40,000 tera. No. So 100,000. 1,000 terahashes is a petahash. So they would maybe have 500,000 terahashes. Wow, even more. So they're running around 700 petahashes, 800 petahashes. Yeah, okay, 5 Bitcoin per day is 800 petahashes right now. Which, if we want to talk about 800 petahashes, is 800,000 terahashes. Each Bitmain S19J Pro Bitcoin miner is producing around 100 terahashes each. So they have around 8,000 of those. And those machines from Bitmain are around $6,000 a piece. So they've put, you know, some pretty good money into this mining operation, somewhere around 50 million bucks into Bitcoin mining. I would say that's, maybe for them it's chump change, but realistically speaking, it's just legitimizing it even further. Let's see what their investor presentation looks like. Their website is a little bit interesting, huh? What's up, Shoeless Joe? Okay. Where are the presentations at? One exahash. Wow, that's a lot. CleanSpark has an exahash of on Foundry Pool. Plans to triple, so 3 exahashes. So 1 exahash is 1,000 petahashes. So that's 1,000,000 terahashes. Wait, 1,000,000, 3. Okay, so let's say 3,000,000 terahashes. So 18. So, okay, here, this is, for you guys that are interested in CleanSpark stock, you have to really track the price of Bitcoin if you have any interest in this stock. So if you don't already understand it, I'll help you understand. So if they triple it and Bitcoin mining difficulty stays similar, I don't think it will. Let's say Bitcoin mining difficulty increases maybe between now and later 30% less. So instead of, with 3 petahashes, instead of, let's say 19 Bitcoin a day, they're producing maybe 15 Bitcoin a day. If Bitcoin goes to $100,000 per Bitcoin, that would be around $1.5 million per day in Bitcoin revenue. And if they can sustain that for a full year, we're talking, you know, $500 million in Bitcoin if they can retain all of it, which, I mean, they probably won't. But if you start to see these companies, these Bitcoin mining companies start to hold a lot of their Bitcoin, you need to be very aware of Bitcoin's price. Like, you need to be looking at Bitcoin's price just as much as you're looking at CleanSpark stocks. Stumu, what does he say? He said, why do people care about garbage like Nano Dimension? If you want to make money fast, don't hold in hope of these risky pump and dumps. Learn options. Wow. This is really ignorant thinking, guys. So people like Stumu, they don't know exactly how to approach the markets besides gambling and possibly earning in 1 or 2 really large plays and then losing it all in the next 10. So if you guys want to lose money, listen to people like Stumu. Unfortunately, people like that will never learn how to truly invest and grow their wealth. They're probably desperate and they just want attention. So, Stumu, I'm sorry that you feel this way. I'm going to mute you from the chat now. Bye-bye. You just got banned. What a loser. I can't believe people actually, like, think this is, like, how they should really approach things. It's really sad. It probably doesn't look in the mirror very often. Stimulus pump, it sure does. CLSK asset is that they provide microgrids with solar and storage facilities. Yeah, so I think that's like I mean, if they're controlling the energy aspect of their business too, I think that's also huge. Yeah, if they can control the energy to the Bitcoin mining operations that they have, I think that is going to be huge for them. I'm actually very interested in CleanSpark. To the contrary of what this soup guy, Soup Moo, whatever his name is. Who is that? Yeah, I would say I'm very interested in this. I'm going to do some more research on CleanSpark. So right now we have 23 viewers in chat as of this second. How's the quality on how's the video quality, by the way, in the chat, guys? Let me know. How's the video quality at this point in time? Is it choppy? Is it cutting out at all? All right, let's do some basic research into CleanSpark. Just not entirely fundamentally, just kind of like the position they're in based on the market mechanics that they have. So the shares they have outstanding, how much are authorized, any short interest in the stock, maybe any stock splits that might not be accounted for. Let's look at all those things. I think that would be pretty smart to do. So I like using macro trends for stock splits. It makes it pretty easy. So accounting for any possible stock splits, we're trading underneath this this level of support and resistance back here. We could be testing. Like, look how much price reacted around this point. Price rallied and fell back $5 per stock this particular week, or this particular day last year. All based on a stock split. So I think it would make sense, at least right now, that we range between $8 and $13. So right now we're at the upper bound of this range. But if the market starts to treat it as support, we could see a nice rally here. Especially if Bitcoin starts to rally, guys. I know for a fact that Bitcoin Bitcoin's volatility is going to impact stocks like CleanSpark because of their involvement in Bitcoin. You can't argue that. Especially if they hold a lot of Bitcoin. Some companies will mine Bitcoin to sell it and then get that cash flow. Some of them are more interested in their balance sheet and just hold the Bitcoin. So yeah, so this looks like a huge flag, but nothing's really like indicated a strong breakout yet. I think if we can get above $15, I think that could signal some sustained bullish movement. Right now, the 200 moving average is around $14.54, so we're still below that upper bound in terms of moving averages. Okay, we're going to go to the SEC's website, and we're going to look this up. I'll try not to take too long for anyone who's not interested in this, but at least you could still learn something, how to do it yourself for other stocks that you might be interested in. Their latest 10Q, they had 35.5 million shares outstanding. Okay. They have 52-ish million current assets, with a total of around 298 million in total assets. They have 12 million in current liabilities. So their current assets to liabilities is pretty good. They can sustain themselves for at least 5 years with the amount of debt they have current. Because, 12 million goes into 52 million, around 5 times almost. Closer to 4 actually, but anyways, besides the point, they're not struggling too much financially. Long-term liabilities, they could cover all of it with the existing cash they have. So they raised a bunch of money with equity. They've got 35 million shares outstanding with 50 million shares authorized. So they can't dilute their shareholders too much. They can dilute you maybe around 20 to 30% before they would have to register more shares. So it doesn't look terrible, really. Let's see what their the revenues are looking like. For the 9 months ended June 30th, let's look at for the 3 months ended first. Total revenues, they jumped up around 4 times almost. Profitability-wise, though, their margins did contract a bit. If we look at their total cost to their total revenues, they're about 2 times in cost here almost. Maybe 1 and 3/4 more, but here it's almost triple in cost. So we would have to see, where is this extra money going? Professional fees are going up. You need professionals to develop any new infrastructure, so that makes sense. Payroll went up, more employees. Okay, that makes sense. General admin expenses, impairment expenses. That is something we would have to do some research on, because that would impact this quite a bit. That would bring it from around 14.5 million in loss from operations to just around 11 million. Depreciation, of course, this is probably the machines. If that's what we're talking about, that has to do a lot with the machines depreciating, which is normal. But the thing is, with accounting, as far as I know off the top of my head, you could depreciate computers and things like that completely over 3 years. But these machines, I believe, are getting better, and they'll last longer than 3 years. So that's also something to think about. Net losses doubled the 3 years ending in June, year over year. But the revenues, quadrupled. So I think they're going to, improve their efficiency over time. So it still looks good. Overall, everything looks pretty good right now. Doesn't look terrible. Okay, yeah, I mean, if you can play the market, make some money like that, hooked, yeah, go for it. Just make sure you save enough for taxes later, because you're going to get a 1099. Thoughts on AMC MVIS? Yeah, you're not the first to ask about those. I really don't have thoughts on AMC or MVIS. Which one's MVIS again? The reason being is because AMC, Microvision, I've heard of this one. I don't remember what they do. If you want to talk about technicals, you're buying it at support right now. So if this is a stock you've been watching and you understand it and you're convicted with this stock, right now you're buying at some major support and resistance. So it's entirely up to you. Fundamentally, though, I have nothing to say about this company. AMC, same thing, pretty much. There's other channels covering AMC, I think Short the VIX. He's a big one. Yeah, the thing I don't like about solar is that it's just not energy dense enough, and at some point there's going to be a lot of waste from it later. It's nice now, but I don't think it's been around long enough before we really see any like repercussions. Theoretically, solar panels should last forever if you take care of them. They'll degrade over time, but I don't think they'll ever go to like zero production. So if you can, utilize the maximum efficiency of its life over the first like 20 or 25 years, then I think it's worth it. But environmentally, like people who are into the environment and like, there should be some waste later. You're welcome, Ape Father's man-child. Dom Gia says that CleanSpark does hold a lot of its Bitcoin. Let me check the balance sheet again. Digital currency, right here. They got 10.5 million. Here you go. There's some accounting flaws too with Bitcoin because of the way it's supposed to be marked on the balance sheet as like an impaired asset if it goes lower than when you bought it, and then you can hold that impaired value going into the future. Even if Bitcoin goes 10 times in value, you can still hold that impaired loss on the balance sheet. So let's say you bought it for $1 million, it goes down to $800,000. You can record that 200,000 impaired loss. It goes to $2 million, and you can still hold that $200,000 loss. So it's worth 1.2 million more, but it doesn't reflect on the financials. So people who don't understand this, looking at financial statements, are going to be convinced otherwise, that they are losing money, but really the assets they have are worth a lot more than what's showing up on the balance sheet. So something also to think about when you're talking about accounting and cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Like that's something that also hasn't been fixed yet on the generally accepted accounting principles, or was it FASB? I don't remember which entity it is, but that's something you have to consider too with these. So I mean, I'm pretty bullish on Bitcoin stocks, though I would say that any stocks that you play with revolving around Bitcoin, I think Bitcoin will be less volatile than the mining stocks in Bitcoin, because people can take derivatives and leveraged positions in stocks. The American market, we can't take leverage on Bitcoin. It's not legal here. So yeah, I think it's easier to hold on to just Bitcoin than Bitcoin mining stocks if you're sensitive to volatility. All right, we should be approaching like 3 hours on stream right now. Okay, we're at 2 hours and 37 minutes. If you guys are enjoying this stream and you guys have learned anything, make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel and that you like this live stream. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I appreciate it a whole bunch. Also, if you haven't already checked out, I have a poll up asking if you are already a part of the private community. All you have to do is check out the link that I have pinned to the top of the chat. That is the Patreon group. You can join that and talk with a bunch of other people who are invested in stocks like this one. I post morning briefings on there revolving any relevant news that you absolutely need to hear about, any specific price points in stocks like Nano Dimension. And I just activated the Nitro boost for the Discord group, so there is going to be HD live streams and HD audio streaming, so it's going to be way better there than I think I could get on YouTube. I haven't tried it yet. The audio quality is definitely better, but video quality I have not quite gotten to. But it'll weed out the trolls like that Stu guy that was in here, and it honestly is just better for everybody. So those are things that you should check out. Also, I did activate YouTube memberships, so if you have been here for a while, you can't afford $5 a month for the Discord community. I do have a $2 option to join the channel, and with that $2 option, you do get a chance to vote when it comes to any future videos that I make here. So if you want voting rights, I recommend YouTube. If you just want to be part of a community altogether, I recommend the Patreon group that is pinned in the top of the chat. All right, that was enough self-promotion for those 30 seconds. 3.2 exahashes is just so much computing power. Now you could have the best computer in the world, and 3 exahashes is like having like 100,000 of the best like GPU you could possibly find, or like 1,000,000 of them or something. It's like some drastic number. Can't even visualize it without it looking ridiculous. Did you guys just hear my stomach growl? My stomach just growled, and I'm pretty sure the mic picked it up because my stomach's like not too far from the microphone. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of hungry. What's for lunch, guys? Chicken and rice? I guess that was the wrong answer. Let's phone a friend. What should I have for lunch? Let's see what we got. I guess it's chicken and rice. Maybe I'll get some Whataburger fajitas. I could do fajitas. Yeah, some chicken fajitas sound amazing. I can do fajitas. Yeah, I've got a Who Wants to Be a Millionaire soundboard up in front of me right now, so that is what you're hearing. That is what you're listening to. I'm probably going to get off stream here around the 3-hour mark. So anyone who has any questions, if you guys want to give me any of your own insight, I welcome it. If not, I'm just going to keep these charts up and just look at anything I think might be interesting. Let's look at Jumia, because I haven't looked at Jumia in a while. I know Jumia's, like, all the small cap technology stocks are just, you know, being beat up. And then people like Stu are crying about it and coming on our live stream to cry about it. And then tell you to buy Apple stock with very minimal analytical thinking. So if you want to be like everyone else, buy what everyone else is buying. You get what I'm saying? So info about the explosion at Homeland Security. No, I don't see anything. Nope. It's probably concerning I even typed this. They're probably going to like be like, "Oh, why is he talking about explosions at Homeland Security?" Nope. Nothing there. Nothing there, Ryan. Now, if you're talking about Nano Dimension at Homeland Security, that's what we're talking about. Where did you hear that from, Ryan? Salisbury steak and potatoes. That sounds like a whole meal. I would definitely like that. You know what? I'm interested in looking at Chegg stock right now. This bounce on support right here. Roku bounced at some major support.